afternoon. Welcome to Voting Arena. And today we have someone very special to Nigerian, to everyone, to the youth on board. Former Minister of Youth and Sports, Solomon Dalung, if I'm correct. Dalung. He's an activist, a community leader, youth leader, in every form and in every ramification, and also an astute politician. You're welcome, sir.
And a lawyer.
I forgot that.
I was a lecturer in the University of Jos. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, sir. And I have my friend Kingsley Okafor. Thank you for showing the umbrella of ADC. But before ADC came, I knew there was another coalition that brought in APC. And I also knew you were a strong member of that coalition. But along the line, things fell apart, like Chino Achebe said, and you left the government. Now you are with another coalition that also seems to look as if it's like the old coalition. I mean, are we going to go somewhere? First of all, sir, I want us to start from APC coalition, then let's transcend into where we are today.
When we have major, not coalition, there was a major of three political parties fusing into one to produce the All Progressive Congress, the ANPP, the CPC, the ACN, and then the new PDP, and some element of ABGA. Now, that produced the APC government in 2015.
Yes.
With a clear campaign manifesto change. And those of us who were actively involved honestly believe in change because Nigeria desires change. President Goodluck Jonathan, the then president, was a young man. With the benefit of hindsight, he is better than most of them. Yeah. Because even as a president, I was the highest critic of Jonathan's government. I even started the criticism of Jonathan's government that led to the evolution of the major. But one thing about President Goodluck Jonathan is that he will invite me to the villa. He will seek my opinion. And I will provide guidance. The whole problem was that he will not make use of it. So at one of the meetings, when late Metama Sule, the Damasen in Kano, prevailed on me and my colleagues to go and see him. And I asked him, why do you want us to go to a man who doesn't listen? And he said, look, Jonathan is your colleague. He's a young man like you. If he fails, your generation will fail. So it should not be viewed from the perspective of personality. Let's go and see him. And we went. We gave the president comprehensive advice on national issues. He was so grateful about the depth of knowledge displayed. He brought his ministers. But unfortunately, what we suggested to him would have been the final nail that would have nailed the coffin of Boko Haram and warned him that he mustn't politicize it. He politicized it, and he missed it, so we fell out. And I accorded this respect to him as a better president because he listened
to his advisors.
No, dissenting voices.
Okay. Yeah. At that time.
Yes, he listened to dissenting voices.
He didn't try to gag them.
No. He even gave me an appointment in the Shopee committee program.
Okay.
Yeah.
The program,
Yeah. Because he said, well, you've been talking about the poor, you've been criticizing me about the poor, so come and take up a job.
With Shopee.
And cater for the poor. And to be very honest, I was a zonal coordinator of Shopee. And I employed 3,000 poor people who were paid 10,000 daily.
Yeah.
But that did not change my position about those issues I was disagreeing with. So I only need to update this so that Nigerians can understand when we are talking about leadership. So the major now produced President Muhammadu Buhari. Muhammadu Buhari was the most fortunate human being to ever live in Nigeria, because he contested an election where Nigerians funded it. Poor people were raising funds and donating it to his campaign because of the belief that his government was going to bring the desired change. And I did remember an old woman in Sokoto when we went campaigning in Kebbi, when we went to campaign. She brought out her life investment. She was about 90 years. Oh. She brought out her life investment and gave us 1 million naira. Wow. And said this was her contribution to the change Nigeria. She died later, around 2017 or so. Oh. So Buhari enjoyed the confidence of Nigerians and the trust. And unfortunately, we couldn't as a party translate the change we campaigned to Nigerians.
What was the reason?
Of course, to me as a person, it has to do with the political will of the president.
That's the individual president.
Yeah, because, you know, the body language of a president is very, very important in determining the psychology and response of the citizens to his government. So when he came in, Nigerians so much believed that he was a no-nonsense man.
Yeah.
He was going to deal with corruption. He was going to do this. So shortly when they started seeing the caliber of people around him and those he was assembling, Nigerians became dissatisfied.
Now, let me stop you there a little bit. Don't you think also the health issues he had also had issues? Because you see, as a leader, you are here in this studio today now. You have to move from where you are to this place. I saw you there before yesterday at the Sheikh Musa Yaradua Center. You move. You are someone that moves everywhere. Don't you think his lack of movement caused a lot of things because he was not getting first-hand information?
No, I think one thing Nigerians do not know about the health of Buhari is that Buhari is somebody who in his lifetime has never been sick and admitted in the hospital until he became president. The first time Buhari was sick in his life was when he was a president. And that took toll of him. Because he was admitted for 1 month. When he came back, he has lost so much weight. Then he went back after 1 month and spent 3 months. And when he came back, of course, he couldn't cope with the stress of governance. But to be very fair to him, before Buhari's sickness, there were issues Buhari could even not tolerate. And one thing that I learned about him is you can have a memo that is 1,000 pages and he will read all. So when we come to council, younger persons like us might have read to either 500 or 900 pages. Buhari has read all. And while debate will be going on, in fact, if there were even errors of words or spellings, he will refer you to it. But shortly after he returned from his sickness, I mean, things fell apart. It was not that forthcoming. It was not that strong. And then the compounding issues of this institution of a cabal
around him. But he created them.
Yeah, every president creates the cabal.
Out of comfort.
Every president creates the cabal. And it's not out of intention.
Yes.
Sometimes out of trust. And then trust is betrayed.
But every president is also on top of the cabal. So to take hold of that cabal, the president has to be handsome.
No, the cabal is a monster.
Yes.
is a monster. Once you create it,
it's out of control.
It now overwhelms you. You see, there are key appointments in the presidential structure of Nigeria. If you miss them, those appointments of people you've trusted, they are the gatekeepers. They manage your relationship with your friends. They manage your political relationship with your government. So if they are ambitious people, they will now stifle the will of progress. So they determine who sees you. And there are people in life that could come to you as a friend to tell you, look, you are not doing things right. So some people are needed in every situation. This cabal will filter them out and then distort the operation of government. And the president is held hostage to a microscopic view of this large geopolitical entity called Nigeria, subject to the dictation of those just 3-4 people around him.
All right. Okay. Let me come to you. You know, connecting from where we were in Buhari's first tenure, where he was sick for the most part, honestly, and you have said that when he returned, he wasn't as capable as he was before. What out of patriotism wouldn't it have been right for him to say, I'm not going to seek second tenure? If you fast forward to today, Dr. Babame just called in an open letter, just called on Asiwaju, why not get a fresh hand to contest for 2027 from APC? You do not necessarily need a second tenure. You know, we saw it in Buhari. You know, it's natural as you're getting older, you know, missing that with sickness, you're not going to be the same person. Buhari still went ahead for the second tenure. Is there no way they can activate patriotism such that you need not go for the second tenure, knowing that age is not on your side?
Well, at that point, I would want Nigerians to understand what we're dealing with. You see, as a president of Nigeria, it takes so much to be able to arrive at the decision you're talking about. In 2018, I saw a vision, and I will want to share it maybe for the first time, of what will happen to the president if he contests 2019. So I went to him and I told him, I saw a vision of you contesting the presidency and winning. But I also saw a political battle being fought by you of a very strong and a formidable army. And you were surrounded helplessly. And I told him, my understanding of this vision is that you will contest, if you don't, I said, don't contest 2019. Be like Mandela. But if you contest 2019, you will win. But this is what will happen to you. You are going to be fought more than any leader in Nigeria, and you will be disseminated and reduced to the confines of your residence as a president. So he said, he will win election? I said, yes. And war? I said, yes. He said, why war? And I told him that the political armies I saw fighting you are going to come up from a category of people who have sense of entitlement to the political heritage in Nigeria. And I told him, look, there are people who all through their life, they inherited politics. So that's where they've built their career.
So the thing is, they're right.
They are entitled to it. I said, but look at you, a son of a poor man who went into the army and became successful and became head of state. And then retired, came back down to another heritage. You have a military heritage where you are successful. You didn't stop there. You are now venturing into another heritage where the owners who have been working all their life are there. And you had one of the most successful campaign and election where Nigerians were even contributing for you. I said, these people will not allow you to take over this space. So they're going to deploy everything they have to make sure that you fail. So he looked at me and said, so what do we do? And I said, there are only but two alternatives. You either avoid them or you contest and win and then be ready for a battle. Then you will have to build your army of loyal people who are dogged and resilient. They will engage them in a political battle and then push them back to allow you to work for Nigeria. I said, anything short of what I am telling you, you will be reduced to the president of the villa. And the day you will hand over, even if you go to a celebration, Nigerians will start crying. The mention of your name, Nigerians will start crying. So I told him this, and I left when he eventually contested. But on the day Buhari was handing over, tears were running down my eyes. And why? Because what I saw was exactly what played out.
Okay, all right. So now we are here now, and we have to fast forward a little bit because time is not too good for us. Then we had Emiloko, and he came into. I know you did not support and you did not campaign for him. That one I know very well. Now he's here. Peter Obi came on board. Atiku still contested. The vote was shared between Peter Obi and Atiku, and Ahmed Achiwaju Bola Tinubu took the victory. But since he took that victory, it has not been well with Nigeria. Politically, in all wise, economically, security-wise, it has not, your state has taken a brunt of the security issues. Now we are going into another election, which is activated too early, in my own opinion. Now opposition comes about. Now we have a coalition. This coalition, do you think is going anywhere?
Well, opposition started very early, not by default. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu started campaigning a year after being in office. At his first anniversary, there were billboards of 2027 everywhere. So the opposition that were giving him chance
to settle down,
to perform, realized that he was trying to outsmart them. And then the economic situation, the living condition, lack of accountability and transparency, and then there's this gradual drifting of the country into an imperial state. So the opposition now had to ask themselves a question. This tension rising from this anti-people economic policy, because the people is a reaction of Nigerians that compel the coalition movement to start thinking of the country. Because people are dying of hunger, something we've never seen, that somebody will die in this country of hunger. Insecurity, multidimensionally, is ravaging the country. The government is not concerned. So the coalition element felt that if nothing is done, the people will rise in resistance. And by then, there will be no distinction as to who is going to be safe. So they must do something to save the country and save democracy. Yes, I did not campaign for Emiloko. Not that I was not part of it, no. I was a director of campaign, director of contact and mobilization in Tinubu's strategic council, appointed by him. But I sought an appointment with him to discuss his vision for the country. Having worked closely with the President Buhari, and I knew where the problem came from, I needed some assurance. And I went and sat on a table, three of us like this, with some other people, with Tinubu for 30 minutes, and he comprehended nothing from what I said. So when I left, I had to now warn myself you were instrumental to production of Buhari. Nigerians are crying. I've been apologizing so many times. And then it's me again now that is going to produce a president who will come and worsen the situation. I don't want to die, and Nigerians will gather at my grave to be dancing on it and insulting that here lies a very stupid man whose only legacy is to produce president that inflicted trauma on Nigerians. So I withdrew. I went to my room, I advised myself, and I resigned. If I had remained, all these noise makers couldn't have held the appointment I would have held in Tinubu's government. So you are now saying whether the coalition will make headway. Yeah. Please understand what is happening. This coalition is historical. The coalition in 2027, the battle line is between the Nigerian people and APC. Every other political party is either trying to help Tinubu by distraction. Otherwise, they must take clear stand. They either with APC, they defect to APC as they're defecting, or they remain with the people. Tinubu drew a battle line and declared war on Nigerians with hunger, poverty, and unemployment. And in his first meeting broadcast, presidential broadcast, he said he has no regret.
Removing the subsidy.
He has no regret about his economic policies.
Yes.
Even when he was told that, look, the small-scale businesses have crumbled.
Yes.
Nigerians who are eating from just babbing cannot afford to pay electricity bill. He said, I have no regret. They reminded him that people are dying because of what to eat. He has no regret. And yet, he's asking Nigerians to sacrifice for renewed hopelessness, which he is not sacrificing. He's traveling everywhere, spending the money of Nigeria. He has used our money to buy a new aircraft. He's renovating his palaces all over the country. His wife is traveling around the country, donating billions of naira. Yet, the president is telling Nigerians that sacrifice for a renewed future. If your father will call the family and say, look, we are facing economic hardship, we must see him wearing rags. Then we'll sacrifice. But he cannot wear expensive brocade and then ask us to dress in rags for a future. Which future?
Okay, let me take you. Okay, you have something to say?
No, okay, go ahead.
Let me take you a little bit direct questions I'm going to ask. Now, I know you believe in rotation of presidency between the North and the South. I think you believe that, Minister.
I believe in it.
Okay, now so
it's equitable.
It's equitable. So now we have had 8 years of the North. Now, in that 8 years of the North, everybody said, let it come to the South. But some people like Atiku Abubakar, Kwankwaso, came and contested, even though it was a gentleman agreement in some sort. Now, that's gone. Now, the coalition is coming on board right now. And there's still some northern people that want to contest with the South in this remaining 4 years. Meanwhile, some other people that have intention to contest, like Peter Obi, Amechi, say that they are willing to do 4 years and hand it over to the North. Do you think this equitable justice of rotational presidency is some people who abide by it?
You know, these two Nigerians that I've met statement are great Nigerians. They are great leaders. But they are always misguided politically. I always tell my friends in the South, especially my Igbo brothers, you know, the sin of an Igbo man is that he's very frank. That's the crime of an Igbo man. He doesn't hide his man like me. So he don't know how to pretend. He says everything he has in his mind. That has been his crime. And it's sometimes misinterpreted as arrogance.
Yeah.
No, it's not. Oh, they are too...
they're
blunt.
They are too pompous. No, it's not. It's just speaking your mind. I have a lot of people who hate me, say I'm arrogant. I'm not, yes, if I'm arrogant, yes. A very handsome, tall person like a master's degree holder in law should reflect it. But that is by the way.
Yeah.
So, you see, the statement they are making is uncalled for now. But let me reveal this to you. the coalition movement is very, very much concerned about equity and fairness. And the coalition is founded on this particular belief that it is not about individual interests, but about the country.
Okay.
Now, we have these Nigerians, great Nigerians, who are aspiring to rule this country. They do not even need those statements. Why do I say this? If we elect a Peter Obi and Amechi, who in 4 years transform the country, do you think I, Solomon Dalung, will allow you to go and tell us that we should change button? Why will we be looking for leadership? We're looking for a leader who will build the country.
North, south, east, west.
If we have a president who do justice to Nigerians, you will see what Nigerians will do. Look at what happened in Rwanda. The man has wanted to leave.
They changed even the constitution.
They will amend the constitution until the man will die. So if we have a leader and a father figure, whether it's Igbo, whether it's Ekwere, whether it's Tarok, whether it's Boki, whether it's Yoruba, whether it's Babru, whether it's Agmai, Kanuri, Zulu, Hausa, Fulani, we're looking at a father figure. So they don't need that statement. What will determine the 4 years is their performance. The coalition, whosoever is going to be elected by this coalition movement, has the responsibility of emerging as a father figure, and he will determine what is justice in Nigeria.
Is the coalition settling for a south person or a south person?
No, I think I discussed that with some of the leaders, and the thought of the coalition is open to equity. It's quite open to equity.
But there's nothing cast in stone yet.
No, nothing. You see, let me tell you something. We're more strategic than APC. That's why they couldn't even stop the unveiling of ADC. They did everything possible. When everywhere with all their money and all the ban of propagandists, noisemakers, they couldn't stop it. So we are also going to be very, very strategic in the choice of the person we are going to put forward to face Tinubu, because we're not talking about ourselves. We're talking about Nigeria.
Okay, all right. The coalition committee, they established one for registration of party, headed by Amechi, and the other one was established just before this recent time, how to integrate into an old party headed by Leah Imoki. Are they looking at establishing a committee on INEC? Nigerians are separated from their vote by INEC. This INEC, do you think if this INEC remains as it is, that the coalition will achieve its results or its objectives?
The coalition is a tsunami, and most political scientists have not understood it. It's a big tsunami. And let me put this on record. Even if I'm not leaving, you will see it. I've said it and I will repeat it. The gale of defections going on in Nigeria, all the 36 state governors should defect to APC. All the imams should defect to APC. All the pastors and Khan should defect to APC. INEC will be the last under the chairmanship of Sheikh Tinubu. Tinubu should appoint Sheikh as INEC chairman. I am telling you, this 2027 is beyond anybody. It is either we have free and fair election, or we plunge the country into chaos. You see, I'm saying this because the Nigerian people have traveled across the country. I've been to the south a couple of times since Tinubu became a president. I've been to the east, I've been to the southwest, I've been to the south. Nigerians share something in common. The poor people are hungry and angry. So, if you misrepresent what they are doing in 2027, nobody is going to listen to an INEC chairman who would have rigged election and using technical glitch to now say, if you disagree, go to court. That's an East African adage that says, if a thief tells you to go to court, he's sure that the judge is his brother. Yes. It's not going to happen in 2027. I want to assure Nigerians this. When we will start campaigning, when the coalition start campaigning, APC will know that, oh, you either go to the market and buy helmets earlier now that I'm talking, or it will be more expensive in 2026 and 27. And the business that will boom in Nigeria from 2026 to 27 is the sale of helmets. You know why? Look at what happened in Gombe.
Yeah.
It's between APC. The stones that were flying there, even rainfall. And then the zonal chairman of the party had to abandon his barricade, and it became like me. Because when I've been advising them that they should dress like that,
and leave Abada alone.
Yeah, he removed the Abada and escaped. That's an internal. And you could see stones flying. When it will be external, you can imagine what will happen, because they have introduced the throwing of stones into 2027 campaign. It's not anybody, it's APC. So let me assure you that this INEC will not do anything. This National Assembly cannot do anything. Do you know the reason? For you to embark on electoral reforms, you need a vibrant National Assembly that is pro-people. This National Assembly is a chorister of the executive. Immediately, if they cite the president approaching the hollow chambers, on your dollar we shall stand. On your dollar.
No. They said on your mandate.
No, you know, my ear.
They said on your mandate.
I used to hear dollar. People have been saying that, but what I hear is dollar. I mean, for the history of this country, have you ever seen such a parliament? A policeman dancing and singing praises for a thief who is supposed to arrest. So Nigeria should, all these people talking about electoral reforms, they should look at which institution that they saddle with that responsibility. And does it have the political will to do it?
Okay, so I will go to a place I know that you are a chairman in. That's the youth. Now, before I go that youth, I'm going to connect it to this particular coalition. Old guard dogs are the ones that are being brought to fore right now in this coalition. David Mark has been an administrator, military administrator, has been a minister under the military rule, has been Senate president. In fact, he was in the Senate for 8 years, I think 24 years, or if I'm correct, or 16 years. I think 24 years. 4, that's 16 years. He was Senate president 8 good years. Now, bringing him back to head the new party, don't you think it's an aberragnum of how things ought to be? Where is the place of the youth?
You know, there is an adage in my people, the Ndigbo, that says, you don't give message of war to a child. If you send a child to go to the next village and tell them, we are coming to war tomorrow, immediately he gets there, he will attack. So you will be ambushed. Because he will not tell them you are coming tomorrow. He will start fighting. So that's how young people are. Let me come back to this. In the history of Nigeria, apart from the First Republic, and even pre-independent days, where the youth championed the struggle for independence, most struggles after that were championed by the old people. It was even the Buharis, the Shonyikas, the other elders, even this Pastor Bakari, and the rest. Paritomi, all of them that sacked Jonathan's government. It was Tai Solarin, the Adesanyas, the
Falana.
Musas,
Yes.
that sacked the military.
The military.
So it is strategic. The coalition will not allow the youth to open their chest to a very voracious opposition like the APC that has no compassion. If the APC cannot sympathize with Nigerians, we cannot risk our young people. If these elders will go, the youth will emerge and say, our parents died fighting for us. If you pick a young man and make him national chairman of ADC, they will empty the central bank and buy him. But you cannot corrupt David Mark because he has neither old. David Mark has no business to be in the trenches now. But David Mark is dissatisfied that all his efforts and contribution at this age has not transformed Nigeria. So he's looking at the future. If I'm gone, how does the future look like? So let me come back and reset the agenda for a better future. The coalition is for the youth, and they have to own it. They have to participate. They have to popularize it. They have to own it. Because these elders are only guarantors of the struggle that is ahead. Most young people have been denied access to economic mainstream. So they do not even have the economic capacity to fight. All that they can do is like what we do in the bad governance protest. They come to the streets and then they roll this heartless
government,
military and the police to open fire on them.
Security.
Yes. So if you have the likes of David Mark as a national chairman of a party, can you imagine any INEC chairman that will look at him in the face? Where was Professor Mahmoud when David Mark was a governor? So that is our strength. We are rolling out people with these credentials to face the monster we are dealing with, because it's only them that can face. So it's not like the youths are being excluded. No. There is a very serious threat ahead that these people who were part of the past knows how to deal with it better. They understood the intrigues. Young people will only fall victim. But of course, when the cost is very clear, because when these leaders would have swept the political space, the youth will have to redesign their future. I believe in youth leadership. I don't believe that elderly people have anything to offer. I have worked with them. I know their shortcoming. No matter how well they meant for this country, I know their shortcoming. They are easily manipulated. They are easily held hostage.
In fact, that's what brings me to the nuns. You know, off camera we spoke about the nuns. The nuns used to be those that are in the university, but nuns now are elderly men that goes to take up a postgraduate program just to connect with nuns and contest election. It has been a tool now. I mean, the last one I just passed, we've seen how it's been very messy, that even the son of the president is involved in it. The boy that they incarcerated just gained freedom. So how can these youth that have been corrupted in a form that are 70% of Nigerian population take over the reins?
You know, there are the youths of this corrupt political elite, and there are the Nigerian youths. Now, the Nigerian youths, their voices have not been heard. These youths that they appoint and they select and retort are the ones marauding the space. And they have been there, they have been recycling themselves. Some of them have been in the universities, student leaders have been, for more than 20 years, they have been students.
Yes, I know that very well.
But they are sustained by this ignoble political elite. Because as much as the young people are gathering experience to be leaders, unfortunately, they now also have distorted it to the point that these young people are gathering negative experience as to how to continue to fight and defend them. And let me put this on record. 99.9% of the Nigerian political elites, their children do not participate in voting.
Because they are not in the country.
They are
most
not in
of
the
the
country.
time.
They only watch the results from satellite television. So they needed to take over the student union movement. The student union movement was what was used alongside the democratic movement
To drive away the military. So when I was here, he told us the story.
I went to prison as a student. I was taken to Jos prison as an Adeko element. I met Obasanjo in Jos prison when he was sentenced to death. That was the first time I saw him. But you see, our own struggle is not for earthly recognition. We believe and we are committed to fighting for a better society because it is for the general good of all. So my message to the young people in the coalition is that they must prepare themselves to own this process. Because after David Mark, after the elections, because after the war is won, you cannot have national chairman like David Mark. No. We're going to have younger people. Even in the structures we'll be building, we're going to have younger people who will begin to familiarize themselves with the Nigerian political space.
Okay. So I have a question. I just hope he allows me because it's never today for the youth, and the system keeps showing up. It's always the next time. It's always the next time. Baba Ahmed said, people like this David Mark, they can be in the process. I'm not an idiot, for example. I'm almost not becoming a youth anymore. I can be a party chairman. David Mark can be advising me from behind. This is the recommendation of Baba Ahmed in the open letter he wrote. He sent to Asiwaju. You know, I am asking, is the manifesto of this coalition just to remove Asiwaju or just to fight our enemies like you rightly enumerated? Hunger, insecurity, unemployment, and the likes. If that is why we are in this coalition, then most of these old people who have these experiences, they are actually the problems we are solving today. We do not want a situation where they say, oh, because they understand the old, they must be at the forefront. No, they can be board of directors. They can advise us. We want to see a national chairman. We want to see the youth there. We want to see the youth being listed as a candidate for the Senate. We want to see the youth being listed as a candidate for the House of Rep. We want to see the youth coming out to serve as governors. We don't want to say, okay, don't worry, after removing them this time, the next time is your turn. The next time never comes.
When is next time?
When is the next time? During Jonathan's time, which I don't know if you regret or you are still proud of it, the benefit of hindsight today, they told us, even though what we achieve is removing Jonathan so that the next person coming, we know that we can remove them. We were not able to remove Buhari in 2019. So why can't we, people like David Mark, say, no, let the young man come? You know, and people say that they hear talk, that they see talk too, so that people can see the talk and see a young man, you know, moving this coalition forward.
I was thinking you will have listened to what he said when he was talking about the non-president.
Yeah.
The person elected popularly by the students was the son of a poor man.
Yeah.
You saw how he was handled.
Yeah.
You saw how he was humiliated.
Yeah.
You saw how he was beaten. Can you try that with David Mark? Can you try it?
Yeah. But the boy is still alive.
He's still alive, but is he in control?
And that is why we need.
Does he need to go through that?
No, he doesn't.
See, the point we're making is I don't want us to dismiss this, and I don't want us to be pretentious and deceive the youth.
Okay.
Nobody sends his child to face hazard.
Yeah.
That is what youth cannot do. The issue of a national chairman to be a youth now is ill time because of the situation we find ourselves. Let me tell you, these people will destroy him easily. He might not even have the protection. David Mark, as a retired general, is entitled to a security protection from even his primary constituency,
which is the
military.
Very good. Which you cannot take. Even if you go and talk about withdrawing security aid as a former Senate president, you can't take that military
from his constituency.
Very good. So the coalition is looking at the high risk involved. We know what we're going through as people. I have been in a revolution. I have survived 10 assassination attempts in my life as a struggle.
Wow.
I have survived 3 attempts to kidnap me. 5 armed men carrying AK-47 had ambushed me and spread my car.
Wow.
So it's not everybody that will survive this. In fact, from that first experience, I would have run away and leave Nigeria. But I'm still here. And let me tell you the irony of my life. I'm the only child of my mother.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So, you know, it takes a lot of training, upbringing, to be able to resist.
This.
And we cannot just put these brilliant young people on the line. Because the way these people are behaving, they will go out of their way to do everything. So, it's not an issue of saying, bring the youth and advise him. Will he be able to stand? Will he have the protection? This coalition as it is now is sustained by most of these people. The young people are economically deprived.
Deprived, yeah.
So they don't have the capacity to sustain. But what I would want Nigerians to hold us in the coalition accountable is to monitor the process as it goes, because it's supposed to be a transition. As we advance, leadership substitution will continue and progress. And like I said, I believe in the leadership of the youth. I want a president who will be about 65 years. So that if he asks you, as maybe his chief of staff, to appoint this man, he will be able to remember to ask, I have not seen him.
Yeah.
Have you appointed him?
Yes.
Not that memory will fail him until when he leaves office before he will begin to ask questions.
What are the
So this is the reality. So the Nigerian media space, the Nigerian society, community, political community, should monitor the evolution of this coalition. And we should be always reminded about this issue of transition. I would wish that most members of the Houses of Assembly, of the chairmanship, of the National Assembly, except Senate, whether also to a mixture, should be young people. Because those are the training ground. You see, why the young people lack experiences today is because the institution of the training of the youth had been taken over by politicians, which is the National Youth Council of Nigeria and NANS. You are trained to be a leader. So once you are elected, you don't need, you are familiar with leadership. But these structures are now taken over and vagabonds are installed there. So you genuine leaders of the youth cannot be elected. Genuine leaders of the youth cannot be NANS president. And NANS holding their convention in hotels and Eagle Square. While during our time, we don't even have a secretariat. The secretariat of NANS is in the handbag of the national secretary. We hold convention in university campuses.
Yeah.
So these distortions were deliberate by the political elite.
To destroy the voice of the
destroy the youth population. Today, if you talk, they will tell you, oh, we elected the young people as a governor, he fell. That is their youth.
They picked him.
They have their youth.
Yes.
They have their youth they prepare, which they use to blackmail other youths. So they will tell you, oh, this man was a youth. Did he perform? They keep making reference to Yaya Bello and saying he was a young man. And by that, you look at what he's facing. Yaya Bello is their youth. He was created by them. He's not a Nigerian youth. Because if he is a Nigerian youth, allow the youth to elect him. The youth will know. They will elect this one and say, we want this one to represent us. And that's why if I have the opportunity to deal with youth, I always ask them, Say, oh, this is he your leader or the one we have created for you? Because there are always two youths, the youth of the elite and the youth of the Nigerian youth.
All right. You have a question? I'll give you one question.
Okay.
I'll give you one question.
All right. Nigerians, and they say you can't cry more than the bereaved. Nigerians are already, impoverished so badly that anything that comes looks like help. And oftentimes, they are not able to differentiate you, the coalition, from the APC, just like what happened in Edo State. Just about all the parties were giving money, just that one was able to outspend the other. And the one that was outspent will now claim foul that other people are playing money politics. Meanwhile, you were only just outspent. Is this coalition going to play money politics or sincere politics with Nigeria to vote their conscience? And if they are going to play sincere politics, vote their conscience, and not going to vote buying, do you trust that these people can withstand the money that the ruling party might throw into the system?
Well, what we are even encouraging Nigerians to do now is that if there is any gathering of the APC, Nigerians should go there and collect whatever they should. Anybody who failed to go and collect that money will have cost him. But will also cost any Nigerian who collect APC money and use his thumb to vote for APC. Karl Marx said, and permit me to quote, he said, the bourgeoisie had taken over the economic superstructure. Revolutionary elements can only be able to overthrow the system by accessing the system through disguising themselves, participating as bourgeois, gain access to the economy, use the economic power to destabilize it. Nigerians must not allow APC to run away with this money they have stolen to go and hide. No. They are going to bring out the money in 2023. In fact, if I can sew any cloth and I will not be recognized, I will be attending APC.
You told us that you're a handsome young man, so your future cannot hide.
Let me tell you what happened let me give you an insight what happened during the protest. During the protest, when they arrested most of the leaders in the states in the north, some they threatened them with guns, some they used family pressure, and it couldn't work. They now started sharing money. So ministers were sent to their states and they were given the youth 20,000. So I coordinated the northern part of the country. So the youths called me in one of our meetings and said, they are sharing 20,000 and we don't want to collect that money. I said, Kai, God punish you. He said, sir, what is it? Go and queue up there. In fact, while collecting the money, tell them this stupid man wearing red beret called Solomon Dalung is deceiving us. Collect the money. And they were looking at me, sir. What are you saying? So I asked them, on the day of the protest, where shall we get money to buy water? Why shall we get money to go buy coke? They have impoverished everybody. Okay, so when you go there, insult me and collect the 20,000. That's the money we are going to use to fund the protest. And most of the monies we got from the north to buy minerals, buy water, was from the monies the ministers share. We are not going to allow them to escape with this money. So during campaign, if you see APC rally, you will be shocked. But wait for what will happen.
Okay. All right. Let's begin to wind down a little bit. I'm going to come to now the party ADC in winding down. There are a lot of issues already. The last presidential candidate of ADC has come out. Before him were other party executives that have come out. They said they were not duly consulted. They said the executive that handed over the power to you, the coalition right now, has expired since 2022. A lot of issues within the party. Are you sure, sir, that the coalition will survive this one?
Let me begin by asking just an innocent question.
Yes.
The tenure of the Oke Nwosu's chairmanship expired 2022, according to them.
Yes.
Who led the campaign of this presidential candidate in 2023? It was Oke Nwosu. So you can see how dishonest this argument is. Oke Nwosu, that they said his tenure expired, was the one who led the campaign of 2023 while the presidential
And sold forms.
I think they said he had 1 year extension to act as interim chairman also.
If he had 1 year extension to act, after 1 year, why was he not removed? You see, Oke Nwosu is an honest Nigerian. Before he handed over the party, he ran the history of what transpired in the last 18 months. He told Nigerians that the coalition talks has been on for 18 months.
Which they agreed.
And they held about 20 or so NEC meetings. And the NEC is the organ of the party that ratifies all these things. So if they had 20 NEC meetings, can the presidential candidate tell us how many of the NEC meetings he attended? Those party leaders that came out to complain, can they tell me how many of these meetings they attended? And how will they treat the statement of Oke Nwosu, which says that there was somebody who was calling himself the national publicity of the party? He said he wasn't a member of the party.
ADC.
And he proceeded to warn us that we are going to have a APC turned ADC members sponsored to be speaking for the party. We are aware of this distraction. On the day of the unveiling, where we paid for in a contract of services, they went there and blocked it. And they thought that was over. But since most of the leaders of coalition are revolutionaries and we practice guerrilla politics, so we sprung that surprise
On them.
on them. They could have even come, if they knew where we were heading to, they could have even come
Ahead.
and occupied that place and said they had intelligence that terrorists were gathering in that place. So we knew how they behaved. But ADC, as it is duly constituted, we're very grateful to the members of the party who sustained the party for 19 years. We're also so grateful for them. They are patriots that will be celebrated. I mean, for saying they are sacrificing their own personal interests for the future of Nigeria. So those things are normal. You can have so many. We will not be surprised. Even Ganduje will come now and say he's a member of ADC.
that would be a big surprise. Okay, for one direct question, just the question will be yes and no to him.
Do you regret working against Jonathan in 2015?
No, but with the benefit of what I had, then I have no regret, except that I said he's a good leader.
All right, sir. One question by me. Will you support or advocate for a South candidate in this coalition?
Currently, I don't want to distract the coalition from formation, but I'm going to stand with what is equity and will give us victory in 2027.
I take your answer as a yes. All right, we've been with, I don't know what to describe him now, vocal. I mean, very vocal. He doesn't hide his thoughts and his intention. Even while serving as a minister under the Buhari government, he kept his stand and spoke first as a Nigerian before as a politician. We want to say thank you for coming, sir. It's a great pleasure. And my friend, Kingsley Okafor, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
let me just say no. That's all. No.
All right. Okay, so I can understand where that your no is coming. All right, thank you, viewers. Next time, Voting Arena.